Welcome back, everyone. So the topic for the fourth panel, titled What Makes a Family IPO Successful? Please allow me to introduce the moderator, Mr. Hasan Al-Jabri. Mr. Hasan Al-Jabri is a leading figure in the MENA region's investment banking, corporate finance, and business leadership sphere, with a career spanning over 39 years in the financial markets. Mr. Hasan Al-Jabri's latest responsibility was CEO of Setco Holding, and before that was the CEO of Setco Capital. Also, Mr. Hasan Al-Jabri was a member of Trophy IPOs. He was the chairman of the IPO committee for Al-Nahdi Medical Company, one of the most successful IPOs in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. As an entrepreneur, he is the key founder of a recognized mortgage finance provider, Tamleek, along with other firms in the pharmaceutical and real estate space. Please join us, Mr. Hasan. Thank you. This is for you.
Maybe I'd like to introduce our guest, Mr. Ahmad bin Dawood, who was here a minute ago. He'll be here. So maybe I can start just to warm it up. I thought I'll give a little bit of background about the Dawood, about the Saudi stock market, and then we'll go into the discussion. The discussion is going to be mainly about the what makes a family business have a successful IPO. And as Amr mentioned during session, 80% of the companies in Saudi are family businesses, of course, of varying sizes, small and big, and so on. So let me just start a little bit here.
The red one.
The red one, yeah. Good. Thank you, Talal. Okay, today we have 284 companies listed on the Saudi Stock Exchange. 2 to 3 are on the main market, and the rest are on Numu, which is direct listing. It has a total capitalization of about a little bit less than $3 trillion, and it's a pretty liquid market. Foreign ownership is large. Of course, here we're talking about the free part of the 2.9 trillion, which is about 19.4% of that is really foreign ownership, whether it's coming through QFIs or directly through GCC investors. Here, we just wanted to brush a little bit on the history of this market. Actually, we can say that institutionalization started in 2003, where the ownership deeds became electronic, and it was becoming more and more formal. Of course, in 2010, ETFs were created, and then in 2015, we started seeing the foreign investors through the QFI, and the launch of the depository and REITs platforms were created in 2016. And then later in the years, we started seeing the inclusion of the Saudi Stock Exchange in the MSCI, S&P, and FTSE. And in 2020, there was a complete inclusion in the FTSE emerging markets. And also in 21, we started seeing the closed-ended funds platform. And in 22, there were further enhancements. And then also we started seeing the futures. Okay. Also, probably you heard that Dawood itself was listed. And through that listing, they added more to the governance, which has improved further the transparency, which is extremely important across the board, whether it's for the investors or people who are using the services of Dawood, especially during the dual listing times and what have you. Okay, here we're talking here more about the inclusions, and basically which started with FTSE. It was a small inclusion, later followed with MSCI emerging, and that immediately brought in about $10 to $11 billion in that same year, which was 2019. Today, the weighting of the Saudi Stock Exchange on the MSCI emerging markets is about 4.2%, and it's about 4.8% of FTSE Russell Emerging Markets Index. Okay, now we have a lot of companies that have been listed in the last 3 years. Although when you look at the markets generally, you always hear that many of the markets are facing difficulties in listing because of the scarcity of liquidity. In the Saudi situation, it has been quite strong. Actually, I was just telling some friends outside when we were listing Al-Nahdi in 2021, the amount that we want to raise was 5 billion for 3% of the 30% of the company. What we received, the bids that we received were 200 billion. So the allocation was really the challenge, how we allocate to people. And of course, some were frustrated that they only got 1% or 2% of what they wanted. So anyhow, now there were 60 companies that were listed. On top of that, another 28 companies increased their capital, and there were further 22 direct listings on Numu. And still, there is a very strong pipeline this year for IPOs. So I expect that by the end of the year, on Dawood, we're going to have over 300 companies. The interesting thing here is IPOs listed during the last 3 years returned around 45% to date. This is both in the increase of the price of the share and also the dividend distribution. Now, the Saudi Stock Exchange is very liquid. The daily liquidity is $1.3 billion. Although it has dropped a little bit, at a point of time it was over 2 billion, but still 1.3 is considered quite meaningful. And of course, we expect that to continue going forward. From a performance perspective, it's performed extremely well here. We've used some examples of markets that you may know, and you can see that it is from the top 3. And also, it has actually returned during the past 5 years, TASI, we call it TASI, about 61% compared to 57% that was returned by MSCI Emerging and 2.9% by MSCI World. Okay. And also, if you look at the valuation, of course, these numbers fluctuate a lot as markets go up and down. However, it's interesting to see that its forward PE is at 17 times. At the time, we expect that a lot of these companies are generating better and better profits. So the PE forward would be about 14.8 to 15 times. So this is basically what I wanted to just give as a background. Of course, a lot of these companies are family businesses. And here I would like to welcome Ahmad bin Dawood. He's actually one of the youngest CEOs to run a listed company of that size. The company he manages, which is his family's business to start, and they listed it a couple of years ago, has over 80 supermarkets and stores across the kingdom and regionally. In addition to that, he sits on a number of boards in technology, in retail, in malls, in media. I don't know, mashallah, I may have forgotten some of them. But with that, if you allow me to welcome Ahmad, welcome to the session. Maybe I'll start with one question, 2 in 1, Amr style. So basically, just if you can tell us and tell the audience about your company, give us a little bit of background and the family, and what made the family decide to go public?
Sure. First of all, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for showing late here. I was actually called by Basta for an interview. So was doing an interview and finished and just rushed back. Well, BinDawood is a family business established in 1984. Initially, the family was in the eastern region, and our business was initially in perfumery and gifts items. My grandfather actually saw the opportunity of moving to Mecca, and that is because of the opportunity there with the pilgrims. They're coming, performing Hajj or Umrah. Then they need to go back, like buying gifts for their family. So he saw an opportunity there, much more, you can say, stable market because of the flow of the pilgrims that is in those two holy cities. So the first supermarket was opened in 1984 by my father and my uncles. And as a start of any small business, it was like a mini supermarket, size of almost like 800 or 900 square meter in Mecca in Shisha area. So from there, we grew the business. The first acquisition that the group made of a Danube brand, that is another retail brand name, by the year of 2001. At that time, it was only 4 stores of Danube, and today Danube is over 50 stores. And total combined, we are at 87 stores today. Across the kingdom, focusing with BinDawood brand on the pilgrims, local customers, more towards western side of Saudi, whereas Danube is much more, you can say, luxurious experience, targeting expatriates, people who lived outside the kingdom, used to the imported range, different, you can say, also experience, elevated experience than the BinDawood supermarket. After we became listed, also you can say we became listed almost now since in the second half of 2020. And when we listed the company, it was only BinDawood and Danube as subsidiaries, which is the retail part. After being listed, we have done 2 acquisitions. The first acquisition is a startup in Saudi in tech field, who managed our online part of the business, BinDawood and Danube, called International App Company. And the second acquisition we made, a company that is based out of France, in Paris. It's marketing agency through influencers, and they have a presence in 13 countries around the world, dealing with more than 200 brands around the world. You can say the target for those companies, again, like we use the synergies with the current core business that we have as retail. And then once we reach to a sizable, you can say, figure, there is going to be an exit strategy for those companies, or maybe it will continue also. So all the options are there, either to continue or to sell it to a bigger firm or something, or even as a direct listing for those companies. And the reason why the family decided to take the company public is actually, the story started in 2008, when I remember that me and my uncles and my father, we went to a seminar in Dubai, and it was about surviving the 3rd generation. And one of the panel discussions, they were showing that how the businesses started from the founder, then it moves successfully to the 2nd generation, then the 3rd generation makes everything goes away. And the figure that was there, which is like 13% of the company survives with the 3rd generation, and less than 5% towards the 4th generation. That was like a moment of alarming, and I saw the discussions that was happening with my father and my uncles, and discussing how we could preserve, like all this efforts, the sweat that we have put into the business, and that goes away with the coming generations. Do they have the same interest? Do they have the same passion as we did it or not? What is the right way to do it? Shall we do it now or later? So all those discussions was going on. Then we have, you can say, start exposing different ideas about how to structure the family, how to bring the proper systems, the proper governance into that. So hearing lots of stories about implementing corporate governance, we hear that a lot. But what does it mean to bring it into the family business? How we can comply to that? Most of the stories that we hear also back then, or we used to hear, that if you sign with any consultants, either the Big Four or anyone else, they will give you a book. They will come and sit with the family members, and then they will write the constitution for you, and it will be on the shelf. So it's not going to be implemented. We didn't want that either. So the idea was that, okay, let's take some serious steps, because we have seen also some other successful family businesses actually not there anymore. We said, let's do it the practical way, which is we started by inviting the private equity firms, and then we selected InvestCorp as a private equity who came and took a stake. Being from the region, they understand the Gulf families, they know the complexity of families and all that, so they came and implementing their best, you can say, standards of corporate governance. Then we start forming, you can say, all the board, committees, systems within the company, and to make sure that we didn't want to go immediately to be a public listed company and you can say like feel all the heat of the corporate governance, the compliance issues, all the regulations that you need to comply with. So we have taken, you can say, step by step. A private equity came, we implemented all that. Going public was an easy task also. Yes, it's hard work, but you can say we have taken step by step until we reach where we are today. And I can say that confidently today that our corporate governance, or the governance that we have implemented in the company is one of the best, and the reasons why we want to do it, first of all, to make sure that the company is sustainable for growth, or set it as a sustainable company for growth, and preserve the wealth for the next generations as well. So that is the main target.
That's amazing, really. I witnessed this during many years in banking, especially in the old days, how certain very large and substantial businesses have just vanished or have shrunk, where they were really the controlling their own sector. All of a sudden they shrank because they were not able to really keep their business sustainable, develop their governance, or create the succession planning that is required, and how can one stay or leave, and so on. So definitely going for an IPO is a great thing for families with the right governance. Tell us, now that you've been for quite a while a listed companies, what did you find as the pros, cons, difficulties, surprises that you met?
Many. I mean,
Yeah, probably one thing that I can think of, maybe I want to address it, because when you own the company and it's a family business, and you run it. I mean, you call the shot and move on. Here it's different with different shareholders.
Exactly. So. I mean, like, see, one of the things that if you're a public listed company and the good things that it brings, and especially if you have, you can say, good intentions towards those measures which is going to be implemented as a public listed company. I saw other you can say examples also where people are trying to bring their family or even relatives or friends into the board and committees. And the way we did it, we didn't bring any friends into the board. So all the independents that we have actually, we didn't knew them before we became listed. So it was like, okay, what sort of qualities or qualifications we want, how to make the board effective, and then we invited the right people and start, including them. So retail part, okay, yes, we know, we understand. We build the business from the first store until we reach where we are today. So what is the future, where the business could move, what other opportunities that is in the market? So that is one of the good things that this corporate governance brings to the company. decisions that when you are making, or you can say before you become listed, all the decisions, if you feel or your gut saying that, okay, implement this project, or let's, like invest into this, sometimes it happens without even studies and all, which can have, it's also, you can say, wrong consequences as a result. The good thing here, okay, yes, you have independents who are going to challenge your decision, who are going to look at it from a different perspective, who will give you different views on the investments that you want to do as a company, or where the future is going to be, and what to look at. Is it the right option to think about it this way, or you have, like a better alternative, which will have better returns as a company? So it's like multiple decisions is better than one. That the outcome. The more studies, the more you can say ideas you squeeze and you put on the table, you will set, or you'll at least make sure that like you prevented most of the problems. Definitely, when you are going to execute, you will see certain surprises. Of course, some of the benefits also, you have access to the capital, access to the cash that is going to come into the business if you are looking for capital raise, or even you want to grow the company by acquisitions or buying, or you have different tools that you could use as a public listed company. You can say on the other side, you have lots of compliance that you need to be complied with. The governance, there is a minimum level of governance that you need to maintain. You need to make sure that you, being as a public listed company, you are always going to be scrutinized, or at least like under the radar for most of the companies. And we have one of the things that happened with us, which is a legal case was filed against the company, claiming that we have used his patent in one of the products that we are selling. Just recently, we won that case after 1.5 years of being in the courts, and it shows that we didn't, like use his patent or anything. So such things, once you become public, like people, they think that, like there is now an easy money going to come, and let's, like take it to the court or something, and that is normally is very common for being a publicly listed entity.
Absolutely, that's good. I was reading a Jadwa report for the first quarter, and it showed that consumer, retail, and hospitality had the fastest growth at close to 8% quarter on quarter, basically. And some of that is actually driven by the Hajj and Umrah, now as the doors are opening up. And as Mr. Hafiz mentioned, we're going for a much larger number of Mu'tamireen and Hajjis in 2020, and especially Riyadh also going to 15 or 20 million. That means that you have a lot more consumers coming from all over the world. And also the demographics internally will slightly change. So how is Vision 2030 and some of the things that are happening now in Saudi impacting your business?
Well, in the beginning, let's say when the Vision 2030 was announced, it was a clear roadmap towards 2030 and what we want to achieve. Now, in order to fix some of the issues that was there since long time, all the subsidies that was there, the cheap, you can say, labor which used to be there, not anymore is the case. So that transition was happening in a fast pace, which impacted somehow the trading during this time. And it was clearly even from the officials that we want to do it quick. It's like either we do it slow, but painful for a long time, or we do it fast and it's going to be painful for a short time. I think what helped us to go through all this time, that the fundamentals of the company was strong, and all the locations that we have, or sites we have opened in, didn't see that impact. The customers that we were targeting and the locations that we were opening, it was successful, and it shows until today that we didn't close any store down. even with the changes that is happening in Riyadh, Jeddah also, for example, the demolishing of all, you can say, in those areas where you don't have proper infrastructure, which is rebuilding again all these as a new cities, you can say, and giga projects that is coming. That opened doors for different opportunities. So today, for example, or you can say the focus of the company used to be only on the supermarket and hypermarket format. And we have announced that we are going to go even into convenience formats as well, which means with all these projects that was explained earlier and whatever that the kingdom is announcing, all that is going to open doors for us to have better locations in those areas as well. Maybe not in the size of 3,000, 4,000 square meter, but yes, in terms of 50 or 100 or 200 square meter, we have an opportunity to open there. Another opportunity also with the projects that is coming in Mecca and Medina to accommodate the target of pilgrims that the country is looking for. So they want to move it from 8 to 9 million, which is currently pilgrims. It's 2 seasons you have, like Hajj and Umrah, throughout the year. Move it from 8 to 9 million towards 30 million. So all that require a hefty amount of investments, projects that is going to come in those 2 holy cities. And definitely more opportunity for us as being a retailer in Saudi. The acquisitions that we have made, we have seen there is a new ecosystem that is built for those startups and tech companies. And today, one of the things that we are discussing as a company, how we could leverage with all these transactions that is happening within the company, be it from the employees or suppliers or even customer sides, even the products, how we could leverage that into different technological products or even companies that could be associated with the companies that we have within the group.
This is wonderful. Just because we're left with like 5 minutes, I know you addressed a lot of the important points that makes a family business a successful IPO. If you want to say it in bullet points, just so that we address the market in general, that would be good.
So the bullet points, if any company, family business, they want to go public.
What would make it successful?
Okay. So I think the number one for me is that you need to define, first of all, your strategy and goal, why you want to go public. If you don't need it, you don't need it. But and today, especially if I'm talking about Saudi market, the laws when we became listed was not as strong as it's today. So for example, if I want to build a family constitution, it wasn't recognized as something, like as a bylaws of the company, and that all the family members going to obey that, whatever is written. But today is a different case. They take it and they put it in the bylaws, and they have to, every family member or shareholder is going to comply with that. So define your goal and the target, that why you want to go public. Second, make sure you have the right consultants with you. Our journey wasn't that easy. Lots of opinions that we were hearing. Every consultant comes with his own opinion and what is the good way to do it. And I think today, if as a family business you want to go public, I think locally we have a very good, you can say, talented and experienced team or people that you could consult. And I mean, like, a wrong consultation could cost you a hefty amount of money, and you sometimes do things that is unnecessary and does not require you to do it. And you could save a big amount if you just take the shortcuts, or even you hear it from better experienced either companies who became listed or even consultants who are into the business helping those companies to go public. The third thing, if you are doing it, do it for the cause or for the goal that you want to do. Don't just do it because I want to go public and that's it. No, do it and implement it, and take all those corporate, the right practice of the corporate governance, the compliance are there for a reason. It is going to help the company, and we have seen the fruits of it already. It helped us structure our family. It helped us structure you can say or even like attend best talents from the market when it comes to setting the company for growth.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Engage BMG.
Absolutely, Allah. Thank you. Thank you, Ahmad. Thank you, Basil, for really for this amazing conference. Maybe we'll open it for 3 questions in the front here. 3. I hope it's only 3 by age.
Just a quick one for Mr. Ahmad, if I may. You said you went public in the middle of 2020.
Second half of 2020.
So you were doing the process and going basically during the corona pandemic, and why did you do it there, and did you not think if I waited a bit maybe the valuation would be more in our favor? Or I don't know how the company performed during the pandemic, but it seemed that you had a timeline and you stuck to it. And how did that make a difference? Do you think the pandemic or that timing made any difference, good or bad?
So actually it worked for us in an opposite way. So our plan, or you can say we started working on preparing to go public. Normally it takes, in a company like our size, it takes like minimum 1.5 years. So we started the process earlier in 2019. And I remember that before closing the flights, we were actually doing the roadshow, the initial roadshow with the investors. So traveling, we came here even into UK, meeting some investors. And a week after we landed in Jeddah, everything was grounded, closed, and I mean, like they shut down the airports and no traveling anymore. So a call happened with all the, you can say, those banks who were handling the IPO at that time and the consultants that we had. And the call was continue, and we are set to go. So basically, we were the first company who did virtual listing. We were meeting the investors online. We did the company listing even online. And there was like all the curfew measures were implemented, and it was new experience for all the companies, even for the banks, even for the investors. Yeah, to a certain level, they were saying that how you expect to take money from investors where they don't meet you. It doesn't happen. It never happened. So the way it worked for us, actually, we had a very good first half. In fact, all the supermarkets around the world overperformed in this year. And the valuation that we got, and especially when we became listed, everyone was talking about another variant of viruses. There is going to be another shutdown. There is going to be a spike of businesses. It shows its resilience. It shows its robustness as a business. And the valuation was based on the results that we have seen on the first half of 2020. That's why we have seen, like after that, you can say the worst year for us was 2021 and 2022, after the economy was opening up, all the changes that it brought, the pandemic and all. So it worked, different to other industries, it worked in our favor, you can say, when it became listed in the valuation. But also, when we want to become as a public listed company, or any other company, they want to become a public listed entity, they need to look on long term. So it's not an end. I mean, like, it's a whole new journey. You have investors who are expecting something. You need to set gear. You need to make sure you have enough resources for growth. Let me tell you like this. We started in 1984, and until 2020, what we have achieved, I consider it like 10%. And the 90% actually is after listing. So think of it this way, and the real story happens after becoming listed.
And I got affected by Amr by asking a number of questions. Anyway, I'll make it fast. There is a misconception in the market, especially at public, that people go public because they want to, milk the company. They want to take some cash rather than going public. So that's one we need to talk about. Second, Mr. Ahmad mentioned that you will go convenience store. Am I right? Yeah. But that's model being proven very difficult to manage. convenience store would be, demanding. So I would like also to have your comment. Thirdly, how much technology you're deploying, like AI, for example, because everything is technological. So I would like to hear your views. From the pros and cons going public, when you are a single proprietorship or a family, you can make a decision just like this, because it's one owner. But when you have a board, the decision may circle around. So I would like also, finally, what about the supply chain? Like 2020, how are we going to deal? God forbid, 2020 will come. I don't know. How are we going to deal with this dilemma?
So I will answer if I missed any question. Just remind me. So the first thing, yes, some of the companies, when they want to go public, they are thinking of milking the company and taking, and that is an exit strategy for them. Nothing wrong about it, and the laws allows you to do that. As long as you are not attached to the company and you want to liquidate, you want to exit, you want to do something else. And we have seen so many examples around the world also. So nothing wrong about it as an investment. Our intention is actually to preserve the wealth or whatever been created for the future generations. Even if, some of the, let's say when we build the family constitution, we build it in a way, we structure it in a way as companies, and those companies, they have certain rights and certain approvals is required. And every family company that is owned, which is Acacia today, we have actually structured in a way that the family member or the senior from the other family member has a say on this company. So it's structured in a way that we don't want to sell and float more into the public market. However, we could offload more shares by maybe if we increase the capital, or let's say we want to do any acquisition, we want to have right issues for these shares, then yes, the floating is going to increase. But is it going to happen from the family side? For the next 2 years, the family has no intention of selling that. It is a family business. It is that we are going to make sure we will continue the growth or whatever been built over the past years. The second question is around AI, artificial intelligence. So basically, when in 2017, we were the first company or retail company who did the online shopping. I remember when we started our website and our app back then, some of the customers were saying, "Oh, maybe you are losing your business. That's why you are starting delivering grocery to the homes now." In fact, it's not. We saw the penetration of smartphones. We saw the world moving towards apps, and we saw that it's going to be one of the sectors where we need to have or to reach to our customers too. And that's why we have acquired on this company, which is international app company. All what they do is tech. One of the benefits, or you can say, of the technology that we have today, we are reaching to a level where we are customizing offers to every individual customer based on his shopping experience. So the offers that you are getting is different than his offer, is different than his offer. It's going to be only for you based on your shopping experience, based on the products that you buy or you bought in the past. And other things that we are exploring today also, which is solutions when it comes to cybersecurity. Lots of designs also. So for example, the company that we have acquired, Econ, a marketing agency through influencers, they started implementing and using AI in certain designs. So the AI is creating the campaign. The AI is trying to creating some designs for those brands that we are working with, innovative ideas based on the suggestions of the AI technology. In retail also, we have partnered with Swisslog. So we are building now dark stores where when you place an order on an app, that will channel through the computers directly to the robots. The robots will prepare your orders, and we can deliver it after that. The benefit of this, or the concept is called, currently if I want to pick those items from the supermarket, is called picker to goods. So what we are shifting now, it's goods to picker. Means we are shrinking the time of, let's say, if there is $100 basket size of your order, Normally, I take 35 minutes to prepare this basket. With using technology, I will reduce that to 4 minutes. So significant amount of saving and even efficiency is going to be delivered through the business. And even our CTO today does not call Chief Technology or IT Officer. He is actually Chief Transformation Officer, CTO. So the word or the designation is like this just because we want to cascade down to the whole organization that you need to think of transforming, not just shifting. And about the convenience also, the last question, I believe.
That's what I'm saying, convenient versus modern store.
Yeah. So
May cannibalize the business.
actually what we have seen now with the projects that is coming also, and especially with the projects that is coming, especially in the two holy cities, Mecca and Medina, most of the spaces that we are looking for today does not exist. Especially, you can say in the past they were looking at shopping as an entertainment activity, right? Now with the opening up of the market, all those entertainment activities that came into the market, you have a competitor there, and grocery shopping is becoming more of a task or mission for families that they need to finish. So they are becoming more efficient with their time. They want lesser spaces. The malls and all those places are looking for smaller retail supermarket store because of the other activities that they need to add, like cinemas or maybe entertainment activities and all. And some of the locations we were unable to secure 2,000, 3,000 square meter. So there is an opportunity in raise of this convenient concept. Definitely we are looking at some of the failure examples that is in the market, why they got failed, and we hope that we took all the measures to make sure we don't go into that path as well.
Amr, maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna do a paradigm shift here and ask only one question. I'm becoming too known for asking multiple questions. One of the biggest challenges of taking a family business public is dealing with the family. Obviously, you can have a family governance, family constitution to protect you. I'm interested in how do you deal with employment, employing family members, and in which positions, and what is the process? Is it based on meritocracy or whatever?
Great. See, since we became, or you can say since the private equity firm actually came and took a stake in the company, the first thing that they did, interviewing all the family members. Then they came up with the finding that we need from the 16 family members in the business, we need only 5. So those 5 members actually were having only the contract with the company, taking salary from the BinDawood holding. And then we implemented certain, you can say, laws or type of governance within the company with nomination remuneration committee, that any family member who's seeking of joining BinDawood holding, first of all, they need to work somewhere else. And you have a fast track and you have a normal track. So the fast track, you need to get promoted twice wherever you are working in 1 year. If you got promoted twice, if the company needs you, then you are going to come and attend an interview, then you are going to join the business. If not, you need to work outside at least 3 years. Then if the company needs you, then you are going to come again here. Before InvestCorp or before the private equity comes to the company, the way that my father and my uncles adopted, actually they put all the family members in the lowest job possible in the company. I remember one of my cousins, when he graduated, they allocate him as merchandiser for the shelf, who placed the products on the shelf, going to the warehouse, bringing cartons, and offloading those products on the shelf. And he is actually, graduated from a university with a bachelor degree. And he has to prove himself with the store manager first. Then he will get promoted to a supervisor. Then he will get promoted to store manager, area manager, or whatever path that is going to be good for him. But he needs to work hard in order to get there. After becoming listed also, that what we have adopting now is the same thing, that all the family members need to work somewhere else. And if the company needs them based on the job opening that is there, but still they need to start from, not you can say merchandisers, but at least wherever they stopped in the outside company and they joined this company. And they are taking it very seriously, I mean, in order to make sure that the continuity of the business and sustainability of growth.
Mr. Ayuti.
Okay, Ahmad, thank you very much. I'm moving from multiple questions to one question. He took my question, actually. But just let me put it in a different way, and maybe it's a bit personal. The challenging aspects of enforcing family constitution. It's known in our culture, if the founder is there, he will be able to enforce whatever. If the second generation is there, two brothers are on equal level. So if one brother taking this notion of bringing family constitution and the other one disagrees with him, because all second and third generation, they join family business based on expectation, taking things for granted. Maybe this is a bit personal. What's the most challenging aspects in this third generation, or your third generation? Yeah. Among the third generations, okay, accepting the family constitution to be imposed on them and to accommodate themselves in this process here.
Amazing question.
Thank you.
Actually, one of the discussions that we were having, and when we saw some of the family businesses collapsing with the third and fourth generation, that the founders, they wait until it's too late. And I think we are fortunate enough that my father, my uncles, they were paying too much attention to this. And they said, as long as we are in good health and good shape, let's do it before it becomes too late and too complicated. Some of the things that happened in the past, you can say in the family, when one of the uncles died, Abdullah, some of the sons, actually, they were not interested into the business, so which resulted as selling their shares. And, you know, like as a family, we bought their shares, their remainings, and they were exited from the business. Some of them, they exited as a portion. So it was like an early call, you can say, that, you know, like we have to move forward with this faster than any time, and we need to do it sooner. All the family members, if you know, like you are on good term, you have to do it immediately. Don't wait for the problems to come. If you are waiting for the problems, there where all the, you can say, challenges will happen, and you will never do it. And it's not an exercise that you do it as a project, as a construction or something, you build it over 2-3 years. No, it takes time. You need to manage the expectation. Yes, you have the next generations who are coming with the different views, and they are accepting those different views. That is the most important. And sometimes also with the related party things that happen within the company. So the family took a stand that there is no any related party transaction going to happen. For example, when I joined the company, my father called me and he took or made me, you know, like to give a word that I will not do any side businesses and use my position to benefit from those contracts or whatever. So all the family members are moving towards the same path, not allowed to make your own company or whatever just to benefit from the infrastructure that we have. It needs to be on arm's length basis. We need to give, you know, like fair opportunities to all other companies. And the first benefit should go to the holding company, which is publicly listed. After we saw the benefit of becoming publicly listed, now the family is working on taking all the other businesses that belongs to the family to public as well. Just because we saw the benefit. It's not easy, it's painful. Yes, people will you can say, disagree, but whatever is right for the business, you have to do it, and when there is no problems.
We have time for one last question. We really have 2 minutes left. And please, Dr.
Very quick question. The question is, what is the main benefit for being publicly listed? If you need to list one benefit, what is the most important benefit between shareholder company, where you could sell the shares, and publicly listed?
Continuity. You are ensuring continuity for the business. That is the main benefit. And believe me, I mean, like, the word it's just one word, as a continuity, but the amount of work, the amount of, you can say, the systems and how it works internally. I can always relate this to, you know, like the past governments that we had and now, the new management that we have in the government. All what they are focusing on is governance. All what they are focusing on is transparency. And there is, I mean, like today, the government is operating as a private company with all its entities as companies, you know, like they are operating as companies. And as BinDawood Holding, we are seeing that benefit. And ensuring that continuity is not easy, especially if you are talking about, or if your background is from a family business and you have generations after generations coming to the business, you see the complexity that is creating. It starts with 4, next generation maybe 20, the next is going to be 80, the next is going to be 150 or 160. So it's multiplying. Everyone is going to come with different views. They are saying, oh, the time has changed. The time didn't change. The world is evolving. It's always changing. But and the next generation, definitely they will have different opinions, different thoughts, different way of doing things. And you cannot just, you know, like manage all the family members and next generation and you expect them to do whatever you are doing. You need to bring the right talent. And this is one of the main benefits that we have seen. Being a private company, as if, you know, like there is a room full of talent and the door was opened only this much. When we became publicly listed, like 2 doors was opened and all the talent in the market now, they are seeing what is BinDawood and they want to be a part of that if they believe in the vision and the mission of the company.
حسن عندي بس ملاحظة واحدة إذا سمحت. Most of the family business failure, they say because you don't involve the young generation from day one. You involve them in a later stage. Let me cite an example. Jarir store. Jarir store, they start working with their father since they're kids. And they grown up, Muhammad and whatever. And the business survived along the way. So I think this is one of the issue. You don't involve the young generation you involve them at a later stage, which you will not appreciate. As Harvard, they say, the first generation established the business, second generation cashed the business, third generation destroyed the business. Is that, what do you think?
True, I believe in that as well. I remember that, I mean, like, I said that before also, like, whenever we used to finish from the summer season, when school starts, normally the teacher, you know, like is asking the students, oh, where did you go for the summer? And you hear people, they traveled to this area, they went for summer to that area, it was cold, it was hot, whatever. And when they come to me, I say, I didn't go anywhere, I was working in the stores. So my father was not taking us, you know, like to vacations or something. No, the whole I mean, like summer for us or school vacation, it means like we have to go to work. And that's what we are doing even now for all the kids in the business, that they have to work and they have to work in the business. Hajj season, for example, this season, all the kids of the family are distributed into different stores. Some of them are working as bagging the items for the customers, some of them as cashiers, some of them directing and showing ways to customers, some of them managing stores. Even though they are not on the payroll, but at least they are working and they are seeing you can say, the real action live. And that is one of the main success factors. True, I truly agree.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Ahmad. It was very interesting.